Good evening, everybody. Happy Dasara to each and everyone who has assembled here. And to start with this program, I would like to invite Master Ayansh to invoke the goddess for starting this beautiful program, which is looking forward by thousands of people around. Please, Master Ayansh, I invite him to start the invocation. He is the son of Chandana and Dr. Karthik and Dr. Ravindra's grandson.
Hi, I am Ayansh. I am reciting Saraswati Stotram. Saraswati Namastobhyam Varade Kamarupini Vidyarambam Karishyami Siddhir Bhavatu Me Sada Padmapatra Vishalakshi Padmakesadhavarnini Nityam Padmalaya Devi Samadhatu Saraswati Manikya Veena Upalalayantim Madalasam Manjula Vilasam Mahindra Neela Titikomalangim Matanga Kanya Manasasmarami Chaturbuje Chandrakala Batamse Kuchonate Kumkumaragasholye Punge Chupasongasa Pushpaba Namaste 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 Jagadeka Mata Jagadeka Mata Mata Madikata Shama Mata Ke Madhushalini Kurya Kataksham Kalyani Kadambanava Sini Jaya Matanga Taniye Jaya Leela Latutiye Jaya Sangeeta Rasikiye Jaya Leela Sukapriye. Thank you. Hi.
Thank you, Ayansh, for your wonderful, beautiful invocation. Before I call upon Dr. Ravindra to welcome the gathering, and he will also introduce our guest of honor, today's guest of honor, Dr. Gururaj Karjagi, and also read out the Citation Oration Award. Before that, I just want to tell that I have a confusion, just like Kabir's famous Doha, like Guru Govind dono khade kaake lagu paai, Balihari Guru apne Govind diyo batai. When God and Guru, both of them, are standing in front, whom to prostrate, whether to Guru or the God. But now I have confusion. I have both Gurus in front of me. Dr. M.S. Ravindra, he is Guru in my profession as a doctor and ophthalmologist, and Dr. Gururaj Karjagi, who is Guru in my life. And I prostrate both of them together and personally. And I welcome all of you. And now I request Dr. M.S. Ravindra, who is the director of Karthik Netralaya and who is the man behind this whole program, planning this program. I invite him to on the stage.
ಎಲ್ಲರಿಗೂ ನಮಸ್ಕಾರಗಳು. ಈ ಒಂದು ಶುಭ ಸಂಜೆ ದಿವಸ on this beautiful evening, it's thunder, it's rains all around. The weather is so pleasant. It's my pleasant duty to invite ರಾಜ, ಗುರು ರಾಜ, ಗುರುಗಳಿಗೆ ರಾಜನಂತೆ ವಿರಾಜಮಾನವಾಗಿರುವ ಗುರುರಾಜ ಕರಜಿಗಿ ಅವರಿಗೆ, ಅವರ ಫ್ಯಾಮಿಲಿ ಮೆಂಬರ್ಸ್ಗೆ. And today's program, though it is symbolic that we had the privilege to mediate this program, the scene is entirely different. Scene is the relation between Sri Gururaj Karajagi and his fans. All people, thousands of them are going to listen to this on YouTube, on Facebook, and live on Zoom. They're all your fans, sir. They're all assembled here. Thousands of them are going to see this. And I invite Savarga Tamgi invitation, Tama fans our invitation. And this program would not have been successful at all except the kind cooperation and hospitality by Rotary Club of Sirsi. I welcome the president of Rotary Club of Sirsi, Mr. Rotarian Mahesh Telang, and my good friend, my brother, I would say, Rotarian and past president of Rotary Club of Sirsi, Dr. Shivram. He's a very renowned eye specialist, very innovative, no words to say. I can keep talking about him, and the time that is scheduled will be over. That is the zeal that he has. And in spite of slight setback in his health, he has worked day and night to make this program a great success. He and his family. I invite Dr. Shivram and his colleagues and his family, and I invite colleagues at Ganesh Nethralaya in Sirsi, and the office bearer who has coordinated the electronic part, the digital part of it, the whole program, and then Harish from MM Joshi. Harish is again coordinating the hospitality portion of this electronic portion, digital portion of it, and our own staff, Karthik Nethralaya and Netrajyoti Foundation are our own institutions and our family members of our staff. I invite all of you for this program to read out what is about Dr. Professor Gururaj Karajagi is extremely easy. It's just one sentence. If I have to summarize everything, sir, you are the beacon of wisdom and knowledge. You're a beloved son of Mother Saraswati. And on this Saraswati Day, in our hospital, we celebrate in a most grandiose way the Saraswati Puja. We would like to invite you to this program, wherein we are going to give an award in the name of Saraswati to the son of the Saraswati Mata. Sir, you hail from Bijapur and have studied in Dharwad. You were influenced by luminaries like Dara Bendre, Masti Venkatesh Iyengar, DVG, etc. And you having contributed with their association over 1,800 columns, you are an extremely popular columnist. Sir, your books, 15 of them, called Karunalu Babeleke, has seen several editions of publications. You have written articles as well as a book on Sufi philosophy that shows the variety of the interest that you have in philosophy, in addition to 22 books on various aspects. You have edited many, many books, including Shikshana Shilpa, which is a huge collection of articles on education by our beloved JSS Mahavidyapita, Mysore. Sir, you have published over 100 articles on education, which is your favorite topic in national and international journals. Your discourses on Akashvani Rainbow, I happened to see a couple of them yesterday, has seen over 400 episodes. Amazing. I don't know how you get your time to do all these landmarks. And they have millions of viewership. Couple of them are viewed by lakhs of people. Your daily spiritual discourses on Sri Shankara channel has seen over 500 programs on Dasa and Vachana Sahitya. Sir, on the science front, you're not lagged behind. You pursued your BSc, followed by MSc with high ranks. I saw in one of them you secured second rank, in one of them you secured first rank in the MSc, and then obtained PhD in inorganic chemistry from Karnataka University, Dharwad, in a record period of 2 years. That's marvelous. I fondly remember my father, Mem Sriranga Shetty, who again is a professor in Central College and the government college, and he became a deputy director. It tells to me that chemistry is a tough topic for everybody, and in that you have achieved what is impossible. And that's not the end. You were the member of high level of committees like syndicate and senate committees. You were a member of academic and the college development councils, and you were the chairman of board of examiners, as well as local inquiry committees of Bangalore University. Sir, you are a life fellow of Electrochemical Society of India, and you have published 22 scientific papers. I happen to go through them on the net. They're all tough. Even I can't pronounce the names of the titles of your chemistry papers. They're all research papers published in various international journals. You were on the boards of management of your medical universities too. Sir, you have a very illustrious career all along and have served as a member of State Resource Group for implementing total quality management in the colleges of Karnataka. You were principal of Vidya Vardhak Sangha first grade college for men for 16 years and the director of its academic and administrative college. And you became the head of the college, a very good, very well-known college at a very young age of 28 years. That's unbelievable, sir. 28 years, we were all studying still at that time. You were the founder principal of academic director of the famous Jain International Residential School and the founder director of International Academy of Creative Teaching, which is a unique free service teacher training institute. You are a member of the Karnataka Knowledge Commission and trustee of Loka Shikshana Trust, and which brings daily, weekly, and monthly periodicals, monthly publications. Sir, you are a member of governing body of the Indian Institute of Advanced Studies in Simla. You have kept yourself deeply committed as the chairman of Academy of Creative Teaching. You are instrumental in building 85 high quality schools all over the world. Sir, you are an institution builder. We are very happy that you are here today amongst us. Creativity, critical problem solving, and communication skills, the motivation talks, work ethics, and human values are your natural instincts that you must have inherited from your parents, and they are your virtues. We all are enjoying those things in your preachings. Sir, you have designed a complete curriculum of creativity, which is being used in several universities. Dr. Gururaj Karajgi, sir, you traveled and lectured extensively both in East and West, outside India too, and have conducted over 2,000 training programs for educational and corporate organization. Sir, you still look very young for having achieved this. All of us are very familiar with Bhagavad Gita. We know Kumara Vyasa Bharata. We know Vedas. We know Upanishads, but we don't understand them. But your interpretation of these epics is in very simple language, touches our souls directly, sir, as they are easily understandable, and you make them simple to understand and practically relate them to common man's day-to-day life. Sir, you are the teacher of teachers. And your service over 4 decades has reached millions of hearts, I'm sure about it, millions of souls, millions of minds, and has brightened them up. So we at Karthik Netralaya, and Netrajyoti Foundation Bangalore, and Rotary Club of Sirsi are privileged to honor you with the annual Oration Award named nothing less than Shri Saraswati Oration Award on this day, October 23rd, 2020. Today also happens to be the Mole Day, which is celebrated annually, 23rd of October. Mole is a basic measuring unit in chemistry, and this day commemorates the famous Avogadro's number. I can't pronounce many of these, but that's a tongue twister. That's a number. You can tell more about it. So you said, Guru should be the first and foremost learner, and then a teacher. That's amply fits into any profession, including our own medical profession. Humility is your hallmark. The very look of you. First time I met in a place while Dr. Shivram's housewarming ceremony, he was standing in a corner. There are a lot of people around him. There were more people around you than around Shivram. And I was curious to know who is he. Then he introduced, he is Guru Raj Karajgi. From that point of time, I had the instinct, I had a desire to call you and honor you at some point of time. Corona has gifted us this barrier where we can't meet each other and greet each other. Humility is a hallmark. Sir, you say great minds discuss ideas, average minds like us discuss events, and small minds like many of us only discuss people. Sir, let us listen to your oration on Hale, Beru, and Hosachiguru, and I'm sure your thoughts will go down in the history and illuminate millions of lives. God bless you and your family, sir. I bring greetings to Madam Parimala Karajgi. I do not know if she is around. We certainly would like to say hello to her. And your children, Vinay Karajgi and Nachiket Karajgi, and your lovely grandchildren, grandson and a granddaughter. I pray God that the entire family is blessed abundantly by the Almighty. Thank you, sir. At this point, I would like to hand over this. Whatever I have read is all written here. I'll see that this reaches you.
Yes.
I can't hand it over personally.
I understand, sir.
And that is the plaque that is ready to reach you, sir.
Thank you. I feel truly honored, totally honored.
Please Saraswati Oration Award of 2020.
Yes.
We are privileged to have our name on the award plaque that you richly deserve to obtain. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you so much. Very kind of you.
Thank you, Dr. Ravindra sir, for introducing. It is such a mammoth task to introduce Karajgi sir in such a short time, and really it's a great honor. And his Mata Saraswati is the symbol of intelligence, consciousness, creativity, and knowledge. All these combinations are with our beloved Guru Raj Karajgi sir, and he richly deserves this honor. And I, on behalf of Rotary Club of Sirsi and Kartik Netralaya and all the people who are watching here and who loves his discourses every day, on behalf of all of them, I heartily congratulate sir for this great honor. And now I invite Dr. Everybody is waiting for the words to be heard by Karajgi sir. I invite Karajgi sir, who is an inspirational personality, Saraswati Manasa Putra, with this small sloka, Shluklam Brahma Vichara Sara Paramam Adyam Jagadvyapinim Veena Pustaka Dharinim Abhayadam Jadyandhakara Pahan Haste Spatika Malikam Vidadati Padmasane Samstitam Vande Tam Parameshwari Bhagavati Buddhi Pradam Sharadam. Please, Karajgi sir, start your discourse.
Yes, sir. My pranams to all of you. I sincerely bow down in reverence to every one of you who have been so kind in showering your kindness and blessings on me. Particularly, I am grateful to Dr. Ravindra sir. Sir, I would like to say something. If there is a speck of dust, I don't see with the naked eye. I can't see it. But if you use a magnifying lens, you may see some spot here and there. Put the same thing under the microscope, magnify it 100, a few thousand times, you can see it much bigger. The particle has not grown. The measuring instrument has been more powerful. That's all. Same thing is true with me. I'm an ordinary speck of dust. When people see through the magnifying lens of affection and kindness, it appears big. I'm a humble learner all through my life. But the moment I say, I always believe in one thing. The moment something comes in my mind that I know it, that's the beginning of my death. Nobody can say that I know everything. Otherwise, why should the great Shankaracharya say, Koham kuta ayataha? Why am I come here? A great man wondered like this. That means all of us are searching for light in the darkness. I'm one of them. And particularly the kind words you spoke to me, sir, I would take it as the blessings of all of you. My desire is to work hard, work at all times till the last breath of my life. I do not want to be a luggage to anybody else, a burden to anybody else. I should joyfully talk and teach till the last moment. In 2001, when I had met Dr. Kalam for the first time, of course I had seen him earlier, but meeting him face to face, one to one, I sat with him for 4 or 5 hours together. Then it became a habit with me to meet him so frequently. I had the privilege of being with him for 15 long years. First time I met him and we were talking about something, and suddenly he asked me, do you go to temple? I said, yes, I go sometime. Why? He asked me. You have heard Kalam number of times. He talks with absolute childlike innocence. That something touches everybody. I said, why? Then I said, I feel good. I feel good. Then what do you pray? What do you ask God? I told him, I don't ask God anything. Why? Then I told him, is God a Tahsildar? That I should make an application, give me this, give me this, give me this. If he is God, he should know what he should give me. He should also know what he should not give me, when to give me. He knows. Therefore, I don't have to make an application. And secondly, in my culture, it is said, you should not ask God too many things. You should ask only 2 things. Vina dainena jivanam anayasa maranam. God, don't make me helpless. And secondly, give me a comfortable death. That's what we should ask God. He said, wait a minute. He took out his diary. 2 things, no? One is, don't make me helpless. Okay. Second one is, I want to have a comfortable death, right? I said, yes. He closed the diary, he hammered on the table and said, do you know Dr. K? You would call me Dr. K. Dr. K, no, I want to die teaching, I want to die teaching. On 25th of August 2015, I was in Raichur on that day. I was conducting workshop for the Agriculture University professors. When I'm taking session, I switch off my mobile. I went back to the hotel. It was about 7 o'clock. I forgot to open my mobile. I switched it on. Suddenly, I found 18 missed calls from my wife. I know that she misses me, but not so much as to make 18 calls. I called her back and said, what's the problem? She said, did you see the television? I said, no, I have not seen it. She looked quite nervous and said, do you know Kalam is no more? I said, my God, just a month and a half before I met him. In fact, he embarrassed me by asking, can you not take a photograph? He took the photograph of us together and sent it to me. What happened? Accident? I asked him. No, we don't know what happened. He went to Shillong, it seems, and he was about to give a lecture. He stood up and collapsed. I said, this man got what he wanted. Exactly what he wanted. There's my conviction, sir. When you are very intense about something, you feel something intensely about something, it happens. It happens. Your mind drives you towards that. And today, the topic given to me is so touching. Hosa chiguru hale beru. Fresh shoots from the old root. What a lovely topic is that. This has come out of a Chaupadi, a quartet from DVG's Mankutimana Kagga. Hosa chiguru hale beru, kudiralu marasobagu. Hosa yukti hale tattva dodagude dharma. ಋಷಿ ವಾಕ್ಯದೊಡನೆ ವಿಜ್ಞಾನ ಕಲೆ ಮೇಳವಿಸೆ ಜಸವು ಜನಜೀವನಕ್ಕೆ ಮಂಕುತಿಮ್ಮ. ಎಷ್ಟು ಚಂದದ ಮಾತು. ಹೊಸ ಚಿಗುರು ಹಳೆ ಬೇರು. It's so beautiful. Root should be old and shoot should be young. It can't be the other way around. I have seen when you bring a small sapling from the nursery, the root is still delicate, but the shoot is very fresh. If the root doesn't take proper grounding in the earth, the shoot also dries off. So therefore, root should be old. It should be enough to absorb the essence of the land and pass it on to the shoots. Hosa chiguru hale beru kudiralu marasobagu. The tree looks magnificent and beautiful only when you have old roots and fresh shoots. Hosa yukti hale tattva dodagude dharma. He defines dharma so beautifully. Hosa yukti, new techniques, new methodologies. But hale tattva, Philosophy should be same. Methodology may differ. A lovely way of saying. And today sometimes we feel we are at crossroads in terms of dharma. Oh, dharma, values are changing. Values are changing. I always say values are not changing. Values are fixed. We are changing. We are wondering whether we should accept them or not. Swami Ranganathananji Maharaj wrote a magnificent series of 4 books called as Eternal Values for a Changing Society. Lovely book. If time permits, you can read them. Eternal Values for a Changing Society. It makes so clear, values are eternal. Society is changing, that's all. So therefore, he says, Hosa Yukti, new techniques, new methods, new marketing techniques, but philosophy should be the same. Hosa Yukti, Hale Tattva Dodagude Dharma, Rushi Vakya Dodane Vijnana Kale Mela Vise. The ancient sages' version, the message given by the sages countless years ago, thousands of years ago. And with the modern science, I always say scientists and philosophers are not different. They are the same. Both are seekers of truth. I always give a hypothetical example. People say, oh, science against religion, science and religion, as if they are two different things. And then even assuming that, imagine you are on the other side of the globe, you are standing with back to each other. Scientist looks here and religious person looks here. Let them start the journey. How would they meet on the other side of the globe? Face to face only. They meet face to face. Therefore, religion and science are not different. That's what he's saying. Rushi Vakya Dodane Vijnana Kale Mela Vise Jasavu Janajivanake Mankutima. Society will be happy. Society will prosper only when this happens. I should start this, as Dr. Ravindra mentioned, I should talk about this in English so that the audience who are not so comfortable with Kannada can also follow it. I should narrate a small incident that happened to me about 4 decades ago. I went to US for the first time. And somebody took me to this, I don't know, pronounce is different. It's called Sequoia National Park. Local people call Sukhoi, but it's called Sequoia. They took me to the forest. I thought they'll take me to a shopping complex and show me the glamour of city, but on the contrary, they took me to a forest. But I went into the forest, I was shocked. I wish our forest can be as beautiful as that. Even today, Sequoia forests are the most marvelous ones in California. If you go there, the national park, you should not miss it. Normally, people go to San Jose, San Diego, and see the shopping mall and come back. But you should see this forest. Magnificent trees, magnificent trees. And there I saw a tree, which is called a General Sherman. And I called it as King Sherman. It's the biggest tree in the world, the oldest tree. Though they say there are more trees which are older than that and taller than that and wider than that, but all properties took together. This is the biggest tree in the world. It's about 275 feet tall, with a circumference at the ground level is about 102 feet. Circumference of the tree is about 102 feet. Diameter is about 36.5 feet. The dimensions are amazing. According to carbon dating and some measuring techniques, they've seen the layers, grains formed in the bark. They say the tree must be older. I think it must be about 2,300 to 2,700 years old. It was born before Christ. You can see that is the tree. When I saw that, I was so delighted. Such a magnificent tree, stands like a real king. Though they call General Sherman, I said, why call a general? A general is only fighting. I call King Sherman. I saw that, and then I wrote a story based on that. Got it published in Reader's Digest at that time. I said, the one person went like me to Sequoia Forest and saw this King Sherman. When the King Sherman was very small, 2,500 years ago, such a small sapling. And there was his brother next to him, younger brother. And person like me took that younger brother and brought it home. He wanted to plant it in a pot. He planted in a pot. After a month, the pot broke. Oh my God, why is it breaking? He put in a bigger pot. A month later, that pot also broke. See what is happening. One Sunday morning, he sat and removed all the soil. He found the root had grown so long. Because the tree is designed to grow big. So the root was growing so tall. They said, this is the reason. You know what he did? He kept 3 inches of the root on top and cut the remaining root. He cut the shoot, put in a pot, added water, added fertilizers, kept it in the sun, took care of it. And every month, first Sunday, he would remove the soil, cut the roots, trim the shoots, cut the roots and trim the shoots. After 50 years, 100 years, the tree remained so small in a pot. And Japanese call that as bonsai. Bonsai. I like bonsais. I know a complaint against bonsais. But the problem with bonsais is it depends on the owner. In fact, I remember when I came from Bangkok for the first time, I went for a teacher training and my students gave me a gift. And I told my wife, what is that see in the box? She opened and saw, my God, there is a pomegranate tree. Dalimbe. And there's a small sticker attached to it. This is 56-year-old. 56-year-old, so small. And I have 4 eyes, 2 mine own and 2 borrowed. But still I could not see fruits in the tree. Small fruits were there, but you can't eat them. I said, lovely. Gift is okay. But along with the gift, there was a note also given to me. The note said, take care of this plant. It's very delicate. Don't keep it in the hot sun. It dries. Don't keep only in the dark. It will not grow. Don't add more water. It gets rotted. And if you don't add more sufficient water, it dries. And they are given a packet of fertilizer. If you add less fertilizer, it will not grow. If you add more fertilizer, the roots will burn. I said, my God, this is a very delicate species. And I can't do so much work for that. Give it to somebody else. Why I'm saying is, if you keep the bonsai in your house, it looks nice on the TV top or tabletop. But lock your house and go away for a month. By the time you come back, the tree would not be there because it is owner dependent. But what is happening to its brother in Sequoia forest, King Sherman? He is not depending on anybody. In fact, millions of birds are taking shelter in his tree. Why? What is the difference between King Sherman and the bonsai? The difference is this, that man was cutting the roots and the shoots continuously and was not allowing them to go. If the root doesn't go deeper, the strength of the tree depends on the depth of the roots. If you take a banyan tree, the roots will go to such long lengths, very far away. It absorbs moisture from everywhere, and that is the reason why the tree survives for so long. If you cut the root, you are cutting the main oxygen supply itself. It can't grow big. So therefore, I thought this is true of human beings also. True of human beings. A human being is as strong as the depth of his culture. If the culture is stronger, the character is stronger, the person becomes a role model for others. Ultimately, it is the culture. I always comparing the root of a tree with the culture of a person. And the shoot is compared to enthusiasm of the person. If the culture and enthusiasm are clubbed together, it's a wonderful personality. It's a wonderful personality. And secondly, why are we thinking of roots? Today, you see many people are going back to the roots of their culture. They want to go back to their style of naming after their rishis. Somebody called suddenly Vasant Bharadwaj. It was only called Vasant K earlier, suddenly become Vasant Bharadwaj. Why? He says, my mother told me, we come from Bharadwaj family, therefore I keep the family name. That means you want to trace your roots. There is a normal tendency. It happens to all of us, you know. If you are studied in one school in some village, somewhere else, sometimes you feel I should go and see my school. How is it? Don't you feel so? Carl Sagan, the great scientist, astrophysicist, he got the highest award for astronomy. And he said, we all are in search of our roots. He says very interestingly, we look at sea, nobody gets tired of looking at the sea waves. You sit there whole day, you feel most beautiful, mysterious. And you don't get tired of looking at the sky. He says, because we came from there. We came from there. We came from the galactic dust. And finally, we started our journey in the evolution process in the water itself. Therefore, we go back to our roots, our culture. Therefore, I want to combine these two. Fresh shoot is nothing but enthusiasm. Old root is nothing but culture. What is the advantage of having culture? Culture relates to me, whatever happened earlier. I'm a part of this heritage. D.V. Gundappa says beautifully, Rama nadi itta nela, Bhima nusurida gali, Vyomade bhagiratham tanda suratatini, Somanam petta kadali puratana galire, Naventu hosabarelo mankutima. He says, how are we new to this world? We are not new. Rama nadi itta nela. This is where Rama walked. On this land only Rama walked. When you go to Hampi, it thrills you. When you stand on the bank of Pampa Sarovar, you find this is where Vali Sugriva met. This is where Rama met this man. Anjaneya was here, Shabri was here. It looks so beautiful. And go to Anjanadri on top, this is where Anjaneya was born. Anjana Devi was here. And whole Kishkinda speaks of the whole Ramayana episode. So Rama nadi itta nela, Bhima nusurida gali. The air that we are breathing now was breathed by Bhima earlier, same air. Rama nadi itta nela, Bhima nusurida gali, Vyomade bhagiratham tanda suratatini. Bhagirath made a huge effort to bring Ganga down to earth. Same Ganga is flowing in our country even now. The same Ganga is flowing. Somanam petta kadali puratana galire. And we have a theory that moon came from sea. In the churning of the sea, moon came there. So this moon came from this ocean only. Somanam petta kadali puratana galire. Naventu hosabarelo mankutima. There is a continuity in our life. There is a continuity. And as doctors, you know very well, I can't escape the DNA of my grandfather or grandfather's grandfather. A trace of it will remain with me. You can't avoid it. You are a part of the heritage. You are a part of the culture. Therefore, root is very important to me. Just by wondering about the root and not doing anything will not work. I must enthusiastically do my jobs also. In fact, I remember a dialogue between DVG and M. Vishwesvaraya. Vishwesvaraya was a very pragmatic and rational man. DVG could be sometimes very poetic. DVG said, sir, our culture is great, sir. 5,000 years of history we have. The whole world was sleeping. We were the teachers to the whole world. Vishwesvaraya said, stop. Don't tell me old story. What are we now? What are we now? He said, no, sir, we were so great. He said, don't tell me old story. Somebody said, my grandfather used to go on elephant back. Then he said, my father never got down from the horse. But what is your position? I don't have chappals to my feet. Don't tell me all that. Don't tell me only heritage. But what about your hard work? You have missed it. Look at the beauty of this. Only worrying about the past and heritage and culture will not serve. I must also put in my effort to continue this tradition further. This is applicable to society also. World changes so fast and nature changes itself. That's why DVG says, Rutu Chakra Tiruguvudu, Kalanede Maruguvudu. ಎಷ್ಟು ಅದ್ಭುತಪ್ಪ ಇದು ಪದ್ಯ, ನನಗೆ ಆಶ್ಚರ್ಯ ಅನ್ಸುತ್ತೆ. ಋತು ಚಕ್ರ ತಿರುಗುವುದು, ಕಾಲನೆದೆ ಮರುಗುವುದು, ಮೃತನ ಮಣ್ಣಿಂದ ಹೊಸ ಹುಲ್ಲು ಮೊಳೆಯುವುದು, ಕ್ಷಿತಿ ಗರ್ಭ ಧರಿಸುವಳು ಮತ್ತುದಿಸುವುದು ಜೀವ, ಸತತ ಕೃಷಿಯೋ ಪ್ರಕೃತಿ ಮಂಕುತಿಮ್ಮ. This nature is continuous agriculture. It never stops for a moment. You have seen this in come May. If you go to Gulbarga and Raichur, that area, completely dry, red soil, not a trace of green there, not a trace of green there. But one rain comes there. Suddenly you find so much of greenery everywhere. Where were the seeds of grass? They were all struggling hard in that red soil, burnt almost to that heat. Nothing was there, but the seed had not forgotten to sprout. That's the beauty of it. Remember, one small drizzle and whole life comes out. Beautiful. So beautiful. That's what he says. Rutu chakra tiruguvudu. Chakra tirugtade, kala tirugtade. Kalanede maruguvadu. ಮೃತನ ಮಣ್ಣಿಂದ ಹೊಸ ಹುಲ್ಲು ಮೊಳೆಯುವುದು. One of the finest image I can ever think of. ಮೃತನ ಮಣ್ಣಿಂದ ಹೊಸ ಹುಲ್ಲು ಮೊಳೆಯುವುದು. ಯಾರ್ದೋ ಒಬ್ಬರು ಸಮಾಧಿ ಮಾಡಿ ಬರ್ತಾರೆ, ಮಣ್ಣು ಏರ್ಸ್ ಬರ್ತಾರೆ, ಮಳೆ ಆದ್ರೆ ಆ ಸಮಾಧಿ ಮೇಲೆ ಹುಲ್ಲು ಬೆಳೆದಿರುತ್ತೆ. ಅದಕ್ಕೆ ಹೇಳ್ತಾರೆ ಮೃತನ ಮಣ್ಣಿಂದ ಹೊಸ ಹುಲ್ಲು ಮೊಳೆಯುವುದು. ಅಂದ್ರೆ something springs from the dead. Dead is not completely dead. It has ability to sprout something else. ಮೃತನ ಮಣ್ಣಿಂದ ಹೊಸ ಹುಲ್ಲು ಮೊಳೆಯುವುದು. ಕ್ಷಿತಿ ಗರ್ಭ ಧರಿಸುವಳು. ಮತ್ತೆ ಮೋಡ ಬರ್ತದೆ. ಮತ್ತುದಿಸುವುದು ಜೀವ. Again life comes, life goes and life comes, the cycle goes on and establishes continuity of life. In fact, one interesting thing I should also share with you. A few years ago, I was talking to a group of elders in a Vridhashrama. They were all 60 plus and 70 plus people there. And I talked to them about life and all that. One person stood up and said, "Sir, this is all nice talk, but not for us, sir. We are old. What can we do? This world is not for the old." He made an emphatic statement. This world is not for the old. It is only for the young, sir. I said, why? See Tendulkar. At 16, he started playing cricket. Look at Sania Mirza. Look at Sindhu. Young girls, they're reaching the top of the world. At this age only. Dhoni became captain at 27. Virat Kohli is playing so well. And come to field of politics. Scindia, Sachin Pilot became MP at very young age. Tejasvi Surya became so MP at such a young age. World is only for young, sir. Go to cinema. A.R. Rahman, young man. Shreya Ghoshal, in music field, they are all very young people. Then he said even Napoleon, sir, earlier, he conquered half the world when he was 23. Look at Shankaracharya. He finished his whole life in 32 years. Jesus Christ in 33 years. Vivekananda 39 years. Amazing. Sir, we are now past, sir. We can't do much. It's only the world for the young. A few months later, I was talking to a bunch of boys and girls, young boys and girls in the college. I told him, what do you feel? The world belongs to whom? They said, sir, world doesn't belong to us, sir. World belongs to world only. Hare Baba. And old people say world belongs to young people. And young people say world belongs to old people. Why do you say so? One girl stood up and asked me, tell me one prime minister or president of India, sir, excepting Rajiv Gandhi. All others became prime minister only after 60, 70. Nobody became young prime minister or president. All writers of Kannada at that time, they're still writing at 85, 90. Masti wrote up to 90. Tagore and our C.V. Raman got Nobel Prize only in the 70s. Or for example, Michelangelo was designing his St. Peter Church at 83. Benjamin Franklin, when he wrote the Constitution of America, he was 80. Galileo found out the various moon's phases when he was 73. Where is the life for all of us, sir? Younger is only old people's world, sir. Old people said his world belongs to young, and young people say world belongs to old. Whom does it really belong to? Finally, I said it belongs to everyone, anyone who wish to remain active work, who wish to remain in active work. Anybody wants to remain active and want to contribute, the world belongs to them. It does not matter whether you are 90 or you are 20. The 90 and 20 are only chronological numbers, nothing more than that. If you are excited about it, that's called enthusiasm. I call the shoot of life. Even when you are 90, shoots need not dry up. I have one neighbor here. I think I told Dr. Shivaram about him. Last year, he celebrated his 100th year. You should see his joy, sir. Even a 5-year-old child will not be so jumping up and down for the birthday. He would bother everybody in the house. Oh, arrange balloons, huh? Arrange balloons, bring a big cake. And he would mention what kind of cake it should be. And you say Black Forest. You will mention all that. And you will say, now decorate it, right? Aja, 98, 99. You should put banners there. Celebrate, call people for lunch. I was so thrilled. This man is celebrating his 100th year with such gay abandon. After the 100th year, I could not control myself. I went and sat next to this old man and said, Aja, I also want to reach up to 100. What should I do? That man gave me a thump on my back, as strong as the 30-year-old man. He hammered on my back and said, hey, first complete 99, man, 100 will happen. Hi, this is the message for my life. Complete 99, man, then 100 will happen. That means if I'm dragging my feet at 50, I can never reach 100. Enjoy 99th year, 100th will automatically happen. This is most important. I have seen people who are young at 90 and terribly old at 20. So it's only a number. Therefore, how strong is your enthusiasm? That's more important. How do I connect it with this? Now, there are a few challenges in connecting the young and the old. There are a few challenges. I'll mention that. First is managing the incompatibilities. This is a problem that everybody would face. Manage incompatibilities. Past culture, values, attitudes. Father says something, son says, no, I don't agree, Papa. This is not right. And then there is a grandchild also. She belongs to the next generation. In fact, I'll tell you an interesting scientific fact, very interesting. Earlier, generation gap was supposed to be 25 years. It was in 1960. Son would say, I don't know what my father wants. Father would say, I don't understand this fellow. And the third person would say, generation gap, sir. This happens, generation gap. It was 25 years. International Psychiatric Society, which does very good work, they made a study on that. They said in 1960, it is 25 years. 1980 is about 18 years or so. 2000, it is about 11 years. And the last report is on December 2015. They say generation gap is only 6 years. This is shocking. I use it and tell teachers also, be careful. Generation gap is only 6 years. That means if you have two children separated by 6 years, the first one belongs to the previous generation, second one belongs to the next generation, and the older one will say, young fellow will not understand me. If this is the case of 6 years, now as a father, he tells his son, father is 50, son is 25. Though physiologically there is only one generation gap, emotionally there is a 4-generation gap between them. Therefore, our voice is so muffled. And we say, child won't understand. She can't understand because the gap is 4 generations, not 1 generation. So therefore, incompatibility is there. And the child wants, I want this. They walk with the slippers on. And the grandfather said, don't bring chappals inside, keep it outside. That starts from there. And the daughter-in-law wants to wear salwar kameez, and the mother's grand old lady says, sari in the house. No, this will not work. And do this puja. She says, I have got some work, I'll do it. I had a terrible problem, I tell you. I used to work very heavy and come back home. I thought I was a little sticky. I would take a bath. My grandfather would shout at me, idiot, you're taking bath in the evening? You should not do it. I said, what is the problem? No, only when you get the news of somebody is dead, you should take bath, otherwise you should not take. I said, to take a bath, somebody should die. The problem is that he believed that second time bath is not permitted. It's only one time. You can wash your hands and legs, but no bath. I felt so funny. I'm feeling so sticky. I worked all day and came back. But this is the value of his. My values are different. My needs are different. These incompatibilities will happen plenty of times. Right from the way you eat. Musre, adu mutbada. Balgel mutbada, idu nedu. Anyak to mandele. Yo, haske mele irtana patanji. All kinds of things happen. And that creates a lot of problem within the house. I don't know how many of you have seen that movie. Not a great movie, but useful movie. Raj Kapoor movie called Kal Aaj Aur Kal. Kal Aaj Aur Kal. Really 3 generations acted in that. Prithvi Raj Kapoor as the grandfather, Raj Kapoor as the father, Randhir Kapoor as the son, grandson. And finally, Raj Kapoor asks a beautiful question, a very poignant question. He says, Kal aur kal ke beech mein aaj ka kya hoga? There is one kal, younger one. Kal means tomorrow. It is so aggressive, so fast generation. And there's one older generation which did not allow me to go. What should I do now? Kal aur kal ke beech aaj ka kya hoga? These incompatibilities will always remain. And also one more thing, health risks are becoming more for elders. Sometimes it becomes a burden for the younger ones to follow. I've seen this happening. When the person falls sick for a long time, people in the house get disturbed, totally get disturbed. But you should remember, the old people also did so much effort for the younger one when the child was not well. I always tell, in fact, one fellow came to me and said, "What do I do, sir? My father is keeping off and on, not good health. I'm really tired. My wife is not willing to take care of him. What should I do?" I said, "Please tell her, when she was not well, her parents took care of her when she was young. If they had not taken care, she would not have come to this age." It is all nice to say, but managing it is very complicated. In fact, over expectation from the young also is also the cause. The older generation expects too much from the younger one. I'll share an interesting incident that happened. I was with the Masti Venkatesh Iyengar in his house. One day, an old couple came into his house when I was sitting there. They knew Masti very well. Masti made them sit and gave them coffee. Suddenly, the old lady and the old man started crying. Masti asked, "Why are you crying? What happened?" The lady started crying profusely and said, "Sir, you know, my only son. Masti was really worried. What happened to this boy? Only son. Yeah, I know, only son, I know. What happened? Sir, he went away with his wife, sir. Where did you go? He made another house and went, sir. And then they started complaining so much. Sir, we expected so much from this son. We did not get anything excepting pain from him, sir. Only pain. No joy from him. We struggled so hard for him, sir. We are teachers. We so sacrificed everything of ours and gave him to college, university, everything we did. Finally, after marriage, he went away with his wife to another house, sir." So for unfortunate, they started crying. I was wondering, Masti, what would he say now? He answered it so beautifully that could be a message for many old people. He said, "Your son did not give you any joy?" "No, sir, very joy, only suffering now. Till we die, this is going to be a problem for us." Masti said, "I remember you did not get a child for quite some time after your marriage." Yes, sir. He was born after 9 years, sir." "Ah, I know. The day he was born, you came and gave me sweets." "Yes, sir. When son is born, we should give sweets." "No, sir. You're very happy at that time. You gave me sweets. Then when the child was ready to go to school, you put him nice uniform and so liked it so much, dropped him near the school and came back and told me, 'Sir, first day of my child in the school, sir.' You're so happy. Took the photographs of the child." Yes, sir. When the child goes to school, it looks nice, though, sir." I said, "Very good. I think he got some rank in SSLC." "Yes, sir. He got 7th rank in SSLC, sir." I remember. You came and gave me sweet also at that time. You were very happy that the son got rank." "Yes, sir. Who will not happy, sir, when son gets rank?" I said, "Good. But he also got his rank in engineering also, if I remember right, and got the campus interview." "Yes, sir. He got selected in the campus only. Very good job, sir. I know you came and gave me sweet at that time also and told me, 'Sir, my son got the very high salary and the first month's salary he came and gave in his mother's hand.' You are so thrilled at that time." "Yes, sir. Who is not happy when son gives the salary in the hand, sir?" I said, "Very good. And I remember you got the marriage done." "Yes, sir. We arranged the marriage. I remember you told me my son is like Rama and the girl is like Sita, and you performed the marriage and 1,000 people had come, had a great function, great food. I had come to the marriage." "Yes, sir. You had come, sir. You're very happy at that time." He said, "Yes." Then Masti got angry and told him, "Look, you complained that son has not given you happiness at all, but he has given you happiness in installments. So many times he has given you. Still you want now? Don't expect anything now. He has given you more than required, and if you give something, it is a bonus. He has already given you everything. Don't expect too much from him." If I start expecting too much, that means root is not giving to the shoot, it is only keeping with itself. Connect, give it to the people. Give them freedom to them. They will also be happy. And secondly, the younger also should not forget the older. There's a kind of these two things are required. And then old people are not useless. Sometimes they use a very tough language. Recently, a boy from Sirsi only. Their boys are not getting girls at all to marry. in North Canada. Am I right, Dr. Shiram sir? Girls are not available. I don't know what happened to them. And they are there, they're not willing to marry boys in Sirsi. If the boy is an attender in Vidhan Sauda, is okay. But it should not be a farmer there. They don't like. They say, I have lived with this, this one, what is called paddy and areca nut, betel nut and all that. We have lived with it. We don't want it. So this boy was telling the same thing. Sir, the girl came to see him and asked him 2 questions. Who are there in the house? This fellow was happy. First of all, the girl is interviewing him. And then she asked him, who is there? He said, nobody. I'm the only son to my parents. So only 3 of us stay, father, mother, and myself. Immediately she said, oh, old furniture is there in the house. Old furniture is there in the house. Old furniture means the old people. You can't get along with people, is it? What a tragedy is that? But there are tremendous advantages people should remember on either side. People should remember great advantages are there on either side. One is, if you live together, I have enjoyed in thorough measure, sir. I should tell Dr. Ravindra, sir, I'm really blessed by God. In fact, at one point of time, 4 generations stayed together in my house. My father, myself, my son, and my granddaughter, all 4 of us. Shivaram has seen my mother. He has seen my mother. 4 of us, 4 generations. The advantage the child grows, child gets is amazing. I always say, if the child grows with grandparents, it's the greatest blessing. Because only grandparents understand the grandchild better. Parents are lost in the art of survival. In fact, I have a granddaughter. She is the boss of my family. The way she bosses around me, Aja, I come here morning, you should be ready with the story, huh? Don't make me wait. You should tell me a story. My son says, my God, I never told you, Appa. This girl talks like that. I said, she has every right to talk. I don't know how you grew up, because I was lost in the art of survival. My father used to tell you, and I'm little free, I can spend time with the child. In fact, grandparents get along well with the grandchildren. Very well. There is a continuity. They go on telling about their culture, their pujas, styles, and they tell about stories, their experiences. They get along great for comradeship between the grandfather and the grandchild, grandmother and the grandchild. This continuity of life is more important. And sir, most important is values are passed on effortlessly. They would not get in anywhere. Only the grandparents, elderly people at home pass on values so beautifully. I tell you, even today, my son asked my granddaughter, what do you want to be? She finds me always reading or writing. She says, I want to be like Ajja. I want to give lectures. Whether she gives lectures or not, I don't know. But at least she is fond of reading books now. I'm so happy she can talk about Ramayana and Mahabharata much better than any adult in India. She knows so many characters, so many things, because it became part of her. I'm happy Valmiki reviews one more generation. She can quote. In fact, she remembers entire Vishnu Sahasranama by heart. How did she learn? My wife teaches her. The reason is that the advantage of living together is values and culture, etiquettes are passed on continuously to the next generation. They make them more secure, and their attitudes most important. I would request all of you, those who are can take down, I request you, compel you, and urge you to read a book, which I found the most beautiful book I have read in recent times, by Mark Friedman. Mark Friedman, F-R-E-E-D-M-A-N, Friedman. The title of the book is so compelling. How to Live Forever. The title of the book is How to Live Forever. With a hyphen, it says, The Enduring Power of Connecting Generations. The enduring power of connecting generations. This is the theme of today's talk. How you connect to generations to be connected? He says, when you connect the generations together, you live forever. Live forever. Recently, I was writing about my history, my family history. I traced it back to sometime, say about 250 years ago. I started tracing. I found it so thrilling, so thrilling. You connect to people and realize that you are a part of it. You are part of that family. You feel so happy about it. And then in that book, they have done a research. In 1938, there was a Great Depression. There's a time of Great Depression. Children lost their lives. People were dying on the streets. And the grand study was conducted by 268 Harvard sophomores. They did a lot of study at that time. Some children had survived this Great Depression. Some children had survived. They saw all of them, identified, talked to them. They found an interesting fact. They called it as biology flows downhill. They call it biology flows downhill. It goes from the higher generation to the lower generation. And the summary is beautiful. I'll give you the summary of the book. You can read it. It's extensively beautiful. It says, children who were brought up by elders at home, grandparents or any elder at home, survived well. They were nurtured and they retained values, while other children who had no support of this became lonely, depressed, and got into drugs and other vices. It's a study made by Harvard sophomores. It's a very interesting study. He mentioned Friedman writes in that. He said very clearly, the children who grew up with elders at home got into values, they were secure emotionally, and then most important is the retained values. While our children who had no support of the elders at home, they became depressed and they are victims of drug abuse and also all other vices. Sharing time with elderly is so beautiful. In fact, I found it exciting. Spending time with elderly people, talking to them and getting information from them. Their experiences in life was marvelous. Finally, I say, what should be done now? How do you connect the two things? I have only two ideas for that. Two ideas. We can connect the generations. That is a proper connection between the root and the shoot. Both should grow. One is, two words I use. One is realization, other is acceptance. One is realization, other is acceptance. Young should realize that it is a natural and inevitable progression of life. It is natural, inevitable progression of life, and soon they would also be old. Soon they would also be old. You can't stop it. You can't stop it. Even the great Yayati could not stop it. So therefore, this progression into old age is natural and inevitable. Second, old should also accept. One is realization, second is acceptance. Old should also realize they need not be at the center stage all the time. We lived in center stage at our peak of time. We had our life. We were the center stage. We were the key member of the family. But I need not be always the center figure. Even if you are playing the role of Rama in Ramayana, after your act is over, you should go to the side wings. If you still remain there, the drama will fail. So therefore, I should know at what time I should go to the side wings and enjoy the drama rather than occupying the center stage. It's very difficult for people to believe that they are not in center stage. The biggest problem is that. Oh, I have been there. I would get the first newspaper. I would get the first breakfast. First coffee will come to me. And I would direct, hey, don't do that. Keep it there. And suddenly you find it's not being liked. And your son wants to take that position. And I feel uncomfortable in the beginning. But I should realize that I have played my center stage role. Now I should go back to the side wings. It's high time we should do it. And secondly, not all of us, but quite a few elderly people have a tendency to put down the young people. Ayo, these young people have no values. Ayo, no culture, no attitude. They are not going well. Look at the dress. Ayo, what kind of dress he's wearing. We make all kinds of remarks. Let's not make it. Because we were also rebels at that age. In fact, remember when I was in college at the PUC level, we had tight pants at that time. Tight pants. So tight that we had to put zip at the bottom to wear it. And it was so tough. And it was a fashion of the day. A few years later, the bell bottom became a famous thing. And my father used to say, why are you wearing that, man? You are sweeping the street. Why are you sweeping the street with bell bottom? You are wasting so much of cloth. But then life changed. When your son wears a tight pant, you can't complain. Yeah, why are you doing it? I said, I also did at that time. What was good at that time, what was fashionable at that time, the age is such. They will do that. As long as it's not excessive, it's okay. Permit them. Don't come. We have a tendency to complain about children. The root cannot complain about the shoot. Shoot is its own creation. His own creation. I always liked my father, sir. I should tell you, I remember him so much. He was an outstanding human being. He died at the age of 87. He just walked off from his life. And that's something beautiful. He was talking to my mother, looking at the cricket match and said, oh, India will win the match. Looked at his watch. Oh my God, it's 3:30. It is time for me to go now. He said, time for me to go. Within 3 minutes, he was not there, just went away. That's how he lived. The Sharanara Savu Maranadalli Nodu antaralla hage. He lived like that. I was wondering why it happened. He lived so light, sir, so happy. And he would tell my son, why? No pizza now? He was 87, huh? And we comment about, Ayo, why do you eat pizza, junk food? Why do you eat burger? All bad. I agree, it's all bad. He never said eat every day. And my son would tease him, Aja, would you like to eat ice cream? He said, why not? Get ice cream, no problem. I mean, the way he was more younger than young people. And he was liked by everybody around. If I go on making remarks, I'll not be liked by anybody. And I always say, never, I always request the elderly people, don't for God's sake tell young people the world has been bad. World is bad now. ಅಯ್ಯೋ ಜಗತ್ತೇ ಕೆಟ್ಟು ಹೋಗಿದೆ, ಜಗತ್ತೇ ಕೆಟ್ಟು ಹೋಯ್ತು, ಎಷ್ಟು ಚೆನ್ನಾಗಿತ್ತು ಗೊತ್ತಾ, 50 ವರ್ಷದಿಂದ ಎಷ್ಟು ಚೆನ್ನಾಗಿತ್ತು. ಏನೂ ಚೆನ್ನಾಗಿರ್ಲಿಲ್ಲ, ಅವಾಗ ಹೆಂಗೆ ಇತ್ತು, ನಥಿಂಗ್. ಎಷ್ಟು ಚೆನ್ನಾಗಿತ್ತಪ್ಪ ಅವಾಗ ನಾವು ಶಾಲೆಗೆ ಹೋಗ್ಬೇಕಾದ್ರೆ. ಏನ್ ಚೆನ್ನಾಗಿತ್ತು, ನಾನೇ ನಲ್ಕೊಂಡೋಗಿದ್ದೆ, ಕಾಡಲ್ಲಿ ನಡ್ಕೊಂಡು ಹೋಗ್ಬೇಕು 5 ಕಿಲೋಮೀಟರ್, ಮಳೆ ಸುರಿತಾ ಇರ್ಬೇಕು ಮೇಲೆ, ಅವಾಗ ಬೈಕೊಂಡಿರ್ಬೇಕು. ಈಗ ಮರೆತು ಹೋಗಿದೆ ಅಷ್ಟೇ. World is beautiful because it's over. But now we complain saying that at that time I had no electricity. I had to sit in the lamp, kerosene lamp. I struggled at that time. I don't remember now, but say life was so beautiful at that time. Life is always good at all times, sir. I found life is beautiful at every point of time. Your heart is clear. Your perception is beautiful. Life is beautiful. Life is beautiful. I can never say. So enjoy that. Today, in fact, best time, what is the best time in our life? This minute is the best time in our life. Because God has given us so much, He has been so kind to us, He has given all the facilities and asked us to keep our heart clean. And last one I say is, I always recommend Vanaprastha. For elderly people, Vanaprasthashrama. And somebody, when I gave a talk on Ishavasya, I mentioned about it, that we should have Vanaprastha. People said, where is Vana, sir? No forest at all. Where do we go? I said, don't have to go to forest to be Vanaprasthi. You can be Vanaprasthi in your house. I always say, if you want to be a great grand old man or a grand old lady in your house, liked by everybody, have Vanaprastha in your house. How to be Vanaprastha? Very simple tool I have got. Live like a guest in your own house. Is the best method. Live like a guest in your own house. Imagine I go to somebody's house. They give me rasam. They forgotten to add salt. The lady will ask, Sambar hagide sir, rasa rasam chanagidya? What do you say now? Yenri rasam aidu, uppe hakilla annalla now. Chanagide, very good, very good. I put little salt myself and eat it. Is it not right? I don't criticize her. Or when I'm sitting in the hall, husband and wife are quarreling for some small reason in the room. I don't go and get up and ask, what is the problem? Why are you fighting? I don't post book my nose there because I'm a guest. If they require my help, they'll come to me. I should not pose my nose unnecessarily. They'll manage. Same thing happens in the house also. The son and daughter-in-law are fighting for some small thing. It is an issue they can sort out. They are mature enough to do that. But if I go, I'll create some problem, third problem for themselves. My feeling is, if I can remain as a guest in my own house, I'll be liked by everybody and admired by everybody. And they will come to you for counsel because they know that you are a man of very few words and lot of wisdom. They'll come to you. Finally, I'll say life is like a car. Life is like a car. It needs both accelerator and brake. Accelerator is youth. Youth is the accelerator. They're in a great hurry to do many things. they are accelerator. Old age is a brake. Old age is a brake. Both are needed for the car. Both are needed for the car. Only accelerator with no brake is dangerous. Only accelerator with no brake is dangerous. But only brake with no accelerator is useless. So I have to have both. And I should know how to use both of them together. That is the connectivity between the old and the young. That is the connectivity between the shoot and the root. Those shall exist together. Without root, it is not a tree. Without shoot, it is not a tree. It becomes a beautiful tree only when root and shoot are properly connected. And as I told you, life is a car. We'll maintain the car very well. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Wonderful, eye-opening conversation, sir. Really, everyone is enjoying it. Almost more than 400 people are watching on the YouTube, and many are on the Facebook. I can't count. And a lot of questions have come along with this. And I request Dr. Deepti to pose the questions raised by our spectators.
Yeah. Hello, sir.
Hello, namaste, ma, namaste.
Namaste, sir. I truly am wordless, no words. I'm probably mesmerized with your talk right now.
Thank you, ma. Thank you so
Excellent,
much.
sir. Truly excellent. So there are a lot of questions, sir, but I'll try to take a few of them. So the
Yes.
first question, movie you told, Kal Lajar Kal. So this is Dr. Suman Hegde. So her question is, in a family of 3 generations with parents and in-laws as older roots or old roots and our kids as fresh roots, please provide a valuable suggestion for midway like us who have crossed the age of roots and crossed fresh shoots and yet to reach old roots.
Yes,
So your
that's
advice-
what I mentioned, Raj Kapoor's movie, Kal Aaj Aur Kal. He asks a very subtle question, Kal aur Kal ke beech mein aaj ka kya hoga anta? Ninne ide, naale ide, ivattin gati enu anta. That's true. That's very, very true. In fact, very simple idea is there. You empathize with both. If you take sides, you get into problems. I see most people get into problem because they say, I want to support my mother, therefore I have to fight with my wife. Not necessary. Or I want to support my granddaughter, therefore I have to fight with my wife. No, not necessary. It has happened all the time. It has happened all the time in the history. The grandfather, son, and the grandson are there. What should the father do? There is a grandson who is very aggressive. He wants this to happen. What is this, sir? Old dogmatic ideas you have got. It doesn't work. Superstition, he will say that. Grandfather said, tell your son properly, huh? He doesn't behave properly. What will the father do? Therefore, I would suggest, this is a beautiful buffering action. Son is a buffer. He has to advise the son from the essence of what the father is saying. You don't communicate in the same way and destroy the relationship. I tell you one thing, we make serious mistake and make our house hell only because we want to take sides. We want to take the father's side and condemn the son, or take the son's side and condemn the father. Don't do that. There is a value in both. There's a value in both. Please, you try to understand why the father is saying that. In fact, I had this problem. I can tell you very simply. This is a very difficult thing to tell you. My mother is very orthodox. Very orthodox. Ee madi antaralla, Prita madi. You're doing that. When my son got married, both the sons got married in a very short time. In a 1 year, both of them got married. We had 2 daughter-in-laws, highly educated, working daughter-in-laws. But then, you know, I'm very delicate to say, but the 3 days the girl has to suffer. My mother said, sit outside in a separate room. How can they do that? The problem was, my mother said, no, it is not allowed. She can't come in the house. She has to go to work earlier. She has to go in her car. What do I do now? It's a very delicate issue. The granddaughters, daughter-in-laws could not tell me. They are feeling so miserable. My mother was very emphatic about it. He says, no, Devaru shapa kodbidtane, adella agbaradu. Then fine day, I sat with my mother. Amma, I asked her a question. You went to school? He said, yes, I went to school. Did not people object you? Yeah, a lot of objection was there. Those days, when she was young, girls were not allowed to go to school. But I was the first one. From my village, I went to school. I passed 6th standard. I said, did not people in your house shout at you? Yeah, they shouted. Why are you going? When I did well in the school, they accepted it. It is in a similar way. As you were a rebel to your house, I don't want them to be rebels. You understand their problem. Their lifestyle is different. The work culture is different. Therefore, don't worry. It is a natural phenomena that happens. They're not doing anything wrong about it. Therefore, you accept. You should have accepted as a lady more than anybody else. You know, I took 1 week time. 1 week. You know what happened afterwards? I did not condemn my mother. I did not condemn my daughter-in-laws. Finally, I brought all three up together and said, look, from tomorrow on, mother said, I understand, ma, you live on your own. Don't worry about it now. You can come and be normal. And finally, she made some compromise. On that day, don't light the lamp in front of God. That's all. That's all. It's okay. Some concessions are okay. But now today, everything is okay. And she accepted the daughter-in-law so beautifully. So it's a question of not taking sides. Absorb the message of the elder and pass it on in an appropriate way to the younger one. If you put A against B, you are in the crossfire. You are in the crossfire. Don't do that.
Very nice, sir. So the next would be whether technologies like TV, mobile, internet have increased generation gap.
Yeah. Yeah, that's true also. As I told you, the world is changing so fast, enormously fast. I told you about generation gap is 6 years. The same organization, International Psychiatric Society, has done some work on how fast the world is moving. Because of technology, world is moving so fast. They took the last 2000 years of human history and asked a question. What is the midpoint between 0 and 2000 years? Mathematically, it's 1000 years. But sociologically, the midpoint between 0 and 2000 years is 1900. That means whatever happened in the last 100 years is comparable to what happened in the 1900 years. Okay, then they ask the next question. Then what is the midpoint between 1900 and 2000? I was in Geneva at that time. I saw the report and I would have accepted 1960 or 1970. But it was a shock to me when I saw the report. The midpoint between 1900 and 2000 is 1992. What does that mean? Whatever happened in the last 8 years of the previous century is comparable to what happened in the previous 92 years. We are all witness to it. People like me, 25 years ago, where was the mobile phone? And we all lived comfortably without it. Today, people say, I can miss my wife, but I can't miss my mobile. We have come to technology so much. The reason is that because of this, earlier for me to make a call to my professor in New Orleans, Northern Ireland's Belfast University, 600 rupees for a 3-minute call. It was a big hole in my purse at that time and call would not come through. But today, you find your children talking on mobile to their relatives across the continent as if they're talking to next day neighbors. The reason is that this technology has made squeeze time. Therefore, generation gap has become enormous because of technology. And now people, in fact, classic example, when my son was studying in Belgaum for his engineering, my mother would cry, "Ayo, I have not seen the boy at all for so long. So far you have sent him. Why did you send him to Belgaum?" Then he went to England to study his master's. Then my mother said, "No, he doesn't look so far," because you would come on Skype and you will ask a typical question every day. What did you cook for yourself? He would bring and show the cooker itself. She would feel so happy. Now the distance is redundant now. So this generation gap has created more problems now because everything is available, whether good or bad. Huge amount of trash is available. You have to search and get good material out of it. You go to internet and click something, you get heaps of it. You are lost in that. So therefore, child gets answers for everything quickly. Right or wrong answer is different. He gets the answers. So therefore, that creates conflict between the higher generation. But what we should do now as higher generation people, accept him what he says, but also tell wisdom about what you know. Accept the new information, no problem. I may not be knowing the new information. Corona, where it came, we don't know. But But wisdom of this is drink hot water is good for you. It's a wisdom. Knowing corona from the internet is knowledge, this one information. But drinking hot water is good for you is wisdom. Combine both together.
Excellent, sir. So we have whole night to listen to you, sir. Would you have time for
I know.
another few questions?
Yes, ma'am. Another 2 questions, ma'am.
Sure, sir. Another, I think next question is very relevant and very interesting. So they say earlier the most important people in the family were parents. But now I think many parents in our generations feel that now children are giving a lot of importance. They're getting spoiled with too much care. In this situation, they're losing in our childhood, like discipline. So how do we deal with this, and what suggestions to deal with this?
Yeah, this is one very interesting area, especially when the children are very small. We pamper our children so much. I'm not taking a very general sweeping remark, but it's a fact. Look at any child in any upper class, middle class family. The amount of toys the child has is enough to run a nursery school. And the number of dresses the child has, the child cannot wear it for the 3rd time. There's so many dresses. You go out and I said, nice dress for the child. We bring it without the child asking for it. And by the time she wears it 3rd time, she has grown out of it. This is the problem. I tell you very interesting, because you will appreciate, because you're all doctors. A lot of work on child psychology has been done there. If you are supplying materials without the child asking for it, she will have no value for it. No value for it. For example, when I was a child, went to purchase a tennis ball, I chased my father for 4 months to get me a tennis ball. And then when I got tennis ball after 4 months of struggle, it was my job to keep it properly, because I know that another ball will not come so easily. So when I got the material, I knew the value of it. Today, if the child loses 4 also, she won't even know that she lost 4. Because every day she's getting new. When you don't get value for the materials, you know what is going to happen? She grows up with the feeling that she can get things without asking for it. But remember, she is a daughter for you, but she's a competitor for the outside world. World will not treat her the same way. She'll be shell-shocked when she is rejected in some way or the other, because never she has faced rejection in life. The moment she asks for something, is available. So therefore, I would always request, appreciate the child, but don't pamper. If you pamper, there is no value. Please remember, this is not only with materials, it is also with relationships. Please see. You should be very, very careful about relationships. In fact, child should feel that I need mother. Mother should feel I need the child. It should not look like extravagant. Okay, you want pen? No, I'll give you pen. No, 4 pens tomorrow. You have got money. I go to the shopping mall. She asked for 1 pencil. I bring 1 dozen of them. Take it. Don't complain. Huh? You are not a provider. You are a caretaker. You are a caretaker. If that is given, children, in fact, another interesting thing, you know, the young boys and girls in 15, 16, and 10th standard examination, 12th standard examination result, they commit suicides. Why? Because it's like modern Buddha. When Buddha was born, his horoscope was shown to 3 pandits, and all of them said, we don't know what he becomes. The 2 possibilities are there. He can become either an emperor or a beggar. The king did not want his son to become a beggar. He protected him so well. He kept him in absolute luxury. I'm not relative, absolute luxury. Never he had a taste of problems outside. And when he went out for the first time, it shocked him. If he was allowed to go earlier also, he would not be shocked. Like us only, he'll be all right. But he was so shocked, he had not seen suffering. He had not seen old age earlier. It shocked him and made him Buddha. Similarly, we are doing the same thing for our children. We are putting them in a cocoon, providing whatever they want. We are not here running a shopping mall for the child. I have to give affection, and then child should get a material proportionate to the achievement. The child should realize that. In fact, when I was the principal of an international school, one boy came with his father. This fellow had failed in 8th standard in Baroda, and father had put him here. And father was telling that boy in my presence, in the principal chamber, "Arey beta, is baras 40% le re. तुझे अच्छा गिफ्ट दे दूंगा." If you get 40%, I'll give you a wonderful gift. The fellow forgot 40%. Gift kya doge, Papa? He's worried about gift. What is the gift? And you know what the father said? He thought for a moment, said, okay, beta, I'll give you Honda City car. I sent the boy out and asked the father, what do you want your son to be? A taxi driver? His fellow is an 8th standard. For getting 40%, you are giving him a Honda City car. If you get 60%, helicopter. What are you doing? Your gift should be, reward should be proportionate to the achievement. Please do that. Then the relationship will be stronger. She knows that if my mother likes me, likes what I do, I get the reward. Otherwise, I'll not get it. So relationship becomes stronger. Otherwise, you become only a provider.
That's excellent, sir.
One
The
last
last-
question, ma. Because I have got another class at 9 o'clock with the Harvard Business School. I have to do that.
Sure. So 2-3 times, I think we've got a similar question. I would frame it together. So I
Yeah.
say nowadays it's very difficult to manage parents than children. So
Yes.
please give your suggestions on how to look at this very practically.
Yeah. The moment you feel parents are to be managed, we get into problems. They are not materials to be managed. They are living objects to be understood. And one thing I want to tell everybody, if there is anybody who loves you unconditionally, without expecting anything from you, it is your parents and nobody else in the world. 100 people may say, I love you so much. It's all meaningless. Only 2 people in the world, and that too in the order, mother and then father. I'll always put the mother first and the father. These are the only 2 lives which want to give you everything without expecting anything from you. They love you so unconditionally, but they may not be able to express in a beautiful way. They may not be able to express it. But one thing, remember, whatever they do only for you. The tragedy is most of us realize the importance of our parents only when we lose them. They don't understand their value when they are there. They come back and say, yeah, what my father was saying is true. No, I never understood at that time. You had no time to understand. Go and sit with the parents. Talk to them affectionately. That's what I mention frequently. I'm very fond of mentioning that there are 2 words, sambandha mattu samparka anta. Samparka andre, I know them. I talk to them over phone. It is only samparka. It's not relationship. ಸಂಬಂಧ ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಹೋಗಿ ಅಮ್ಮನ ಹತ್ರ ಕೂತ್ಕೊಳ್ಳಿ. ನಿಮ್ ಡೆಸಿಗ್ನೇಷನ್, ನಿಮ್ ಹಣ ಎಲ್ಲ ಬೇಡ. ಬಿ ಎ ಚೈಲ್ಡ್. ಅಮ್ಮನ ಹತ್ರ ಹಾಸಿಗೆ ಮೇಲೆ ಕೂತ್ಕೊಳ್ಳಿ, ಕೈ ಹಿಡಿದು, ಅಮ್ಮ ಹೇಗಿದೆಯಮ್ಮ, ಚೆನ್ನಾಗಿದೆಯಾ? ನಾನು ಎಷ್ಟೋ ಸಲ ಹೇಳ್ತೀನಿ, ನನಗೆ ಕಷ್ಟ ಅನ್ಸ್ಬಿಡುತ್ತೆ. I lost my mother 3 years ago. She was 91 when she died. She was committed to bed for 6 months. She had paralysis on the left side. ನಾನು ಮನೆಗೆ ಬಂದ್ರೆ, she would give me only 5 minutes. I'd remove my suit, and I kind of committed to suit, and then wash my hands, sterilize, and go into her room. ಹೋದ ತಕ್ಷಣ ಬಂದ್ಯಾ ರಾಜ? ಎಲ್ಲಾ ತಾಯಿಗೂ ಮಗ ರಾಜಾನೇ. ಅವ್ನು ಯಾವ ರಾಜ ಇದ್ದು ರಾಜಾನೇ. ಬಂದ್ಯಾ? 5 ನಿಮಿಷ ಲೇಟ್ ಆದ್ರೆ ಎಲ್ಲಿ ಹೋದಿ? ಬರ್ಲಿಲ್ಲಲ್ಲೋ, ಕಾಯ್ತಾ ಇರ್ತೀನಿ ಬಾರೋ. This love, where do you get, ma? Where do you get this love? One day before she died, doctors came and told she will not live now. ಈಗ ಬಲಗಡೆ ನೋವು ಕಂಟ್ರೋಲ್ ಹೋಗ್ಬಿಟ್ಟಿದೆ. She lost effect on right side also. So therefore difficult for her to survive. ಅವತ್ತು ರಾತ್ರಿ ಹೋಗಿ ದಿನಾಲು ಆಕೆ ಹತ್ರ ಕೂತ್ ನಾನು ಓದ್ತಿದ್ದೆ. ದಿನಾಲು ಆಕೆಗೆ ಇಷ್ಟ ಆಗುವಂತ ಭಾಗವತಾನೋ ಯಾವುದೋ ಒಂದು ಓದ್ಬೇಕು. ಅವತ್ತನ್ನ ಹೆಂಡತಿ ಹೇಳಿದ್ರು, ಇಲ್ಲ ಡಾಕ್ಟರ್ ಹೇಳಿದ್ದಾರೆ ಆಕೆಗೆ ಏನು ಕೇಳಿಸೋದಿಲ್ಲ, ಶಿ ಹ್ಯಾಸ್ ಗಾನ್ ಇನ್ ಟು ಡೀಪ್ ಕೋಮಾ, ಏನು ಕೇಳಿಸೋದಿಲ್ಲ ಆಕೆಗೆ ಅಂತ. ಆದ್ರೆ ಪಕ್ಕದಲ್ಲಿ ವಿಷ್ಣು ಸಹಸ್ರನಾಮ ಹಾಕಿಟ್ಟೆ ಆಕೆಗೆ ಬಾಯಿ ಬರ್ತಾ ಇತ್ತು. You know, she had tears oozing from her eyes. Somewhere in the deep conscious level she must be hearing it. ಮರುದಿನ ನಾನು ಬಂದೆ ಆಫೀಸಿಂದ, ನನ್ನ ತಂಗಿ ನನ್ನ ಹೆಂಡತಿ ಪಕ್ಕನೇ ಕೂತಿದ್ದಾರೆ, ನಮ್ಮ ತಾಯಿ ಪಕ್ಕ. ನನ್ನ ಹೆಂಡತಿ ಹೇಳಿದ್ದು, ಇಲ್ಲ ಏನೂ ಕೇಳಿಸಲ್ಲ ಆಕೆಗೆ, ಗೊತ್ತೇ ಆಗಲ್ಲ ಅಂತ. ನಾನು ಟಿಪಿಕಲ್ ಮಹಾರಾಷ್ಟ್ರ ಸ್ಟೈಲು, ಬಿಕಾಸ್ ನಾವು ಧಾರವಾಡದಲ್ಲಿ ಇದ್ದವರಲ್ವಾ, ಮರಾಠಿ ಜಾಸ್ತಿ. ಅಮ್ಮನಿಗೆ ಆಯಿ ಅಂತ ಕರಿತಾ ಇದ್ದೆ ನಾನು. ಹಾಸಿಗೆ ಪಕ್ಕ ನಿಂತ್ಕೊಂಡು ಆಯಿ ಅಂದೆ. ನನ್ನ ತಂಗಿ ಹೇಳಿದ್ಲು, ಕೂಬೇಡ, ಕೇಳಿಸಲ್ಲ ಆಕೆಗೆ, ಏನು ಕೇಳಿಸಲ್ಲ ಅಂತ, ನೀ ಸುಮ್ಮನಿರು ಅಂದೆ. ನಾನು ಹತ್ರ ಹೋಗಿ ಆಯಿ ಅಂದೆ. ಯು ವಿಲ್ ನಾಟ್ ಬಿಲೀವ್ ಇಟ್, you will not believe it. It defies all medical science, I should say. Suddenly she lifted her right hand and held my hand firmly, a strong shake hand, and she had tears. She wanted to say something, she couldn't say. ಇವರೆಲ್ಲ ಹೇಳ್ತಾ ಇದ್ರಲ್ಲ ಕೇಳಿಸಲ್ಲ ಆಕೆಗೆ ಅಂತ. ನಾನು ಹೇಳಿದೆ, ಕೇಳಿಸಲ್ಲ, she is not interested in voice, she is interested in the heart. She hears the heart. If I can touch that heart, sit with your parents, talk to them, go back to your childhood. Appa hengittalla chenagittalla sannadiddaga bhal formal ಆಗಿ ಕೂತ್ಕೋಬೇಡಿ, not like a person interviewing the candidate for a job. ಆರಾಮಾಗಿ affectionate ಆಗಿ ಕೂತ್ಕೊಳ್ಳಿ. You see the parents melting down virtually, melting down. ಒಂದ್ಸಲ win their heart. ಹೇಳ್ತೀನಲ್ಲ, parents heart ಹೆಂಗಿರುತ್ತೆ ಅಂದ್ರೆ, if you give them 1 hour when they require, they'll give you 10 hours when you require. They'll do everything. That's how you have to win people by heart, not by mechanisms and techniques.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Truly words of wisdom, sir. We're all really blessed to listen to you.
Thank you.
Thank you so
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Still lot of questions are there, but
Yes, sir.
due to paucity of time,
Yes, sir.
because you have another program in
Yes,
the
sir.
lineup in next half an hour,
Yes.
so we would like to conclude the whole session. But I am really privileged, sir, to be associated with such a personalities. And as in Kannada says, Sajjanara Sangavadu Hejjenu Savidante. We are fortunate to have the taste of this every day, either personally or through YouTube and other technology means. Thank you so much, sir, for all the things, and no words to say. I just pass on for the last session. Our Rotary President of Sirsi
Yes.
is the
Yes.
co-host
Yes.
of this whole program.
Yes.
Rotarian Mahesh Telang will move the vote of thanks now.
Thank you. Thank you.
Sir,
Unmute.
Yes, sir.
sir, I have the privilege of thanking Dr. Gururaj Karjagi, who has enlightened us about the relationships or the behavioral changes that we have to adopt in our life, and bringing in a good culture to live with the parents or older people. Sir, a beautiful presentation by you, sir. Hale Beru Hosa Chiguru. It was a wonderful talk on behalf of Rotary Club of Sirsi and Dr. M.S. Ravindra and Kartika Netralaya. My heartfelt thanks to you, sir. Once again, thank you very much, sir. There are a lot many things to be discussed with you because
Yes,
of the limitation of time. I'll just say only a word. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir. I'll come to Sirsi, sir. I'll answer all the questions there.
Yes, sir. I have got lot many things to
I'll come there to Sirsi.
discuss with you.
Yes,
Definitely.
Yes, sir. Ugly, sir. Thank you, sir. Thank you so much.
Next,
Thank you.
my sincere thanks to Dr. M.S. Ravindra of Kartika Netralaya for a beautiful introduction of Dr. Karjagi. Sir, once again, I thank you on behalf of Rotary Club of Sirsi for giving this opportunity on this Saraswati Puja Day and honoring Dr. Gururaj Karjagi with Saraswati Oration Award. Thank you very much, sir.
Thank you, sir. Thank you so much.
Once again, I thank all the members and staff who have involved in this program from Kartika Netralaya, Dr. Deepti, Dr. Kartik, special thanks to you for conducting this question and answer session. Once again, my sincere thanks to Dr. Shuram, who has brought Rotary Club of Sirsi on this platform and introduced Dr. M.S. Ravindra, and he is a bridge between a Rotary Club of Sirsi and Kartika Netralaya. Once again, thank you very much, sir. I'll be, I know I should not forget Mr. Harish from MM Joshi Hospital and Vinay Kumar Hiramat from Sirsi for their technical support to conduct this Zoom meeting. Thank you very much, sir, both of you. I once again thank all the people who have directly or indirectly supported us and cooperated with us, especially the patient spectators or the patient listeners on YouTube and Facebook platform. I once again thank you. Thank you one and all.
Thank you.
Bye-bye. It's a time to leave now because Dr. Karjagi has to attend one more session, as he said.
Yes.
Bye-bye. Good night,
Thank you,
everybody.
sir. Thank you. Good night, sir.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. Thank you so much.
ಸರ್ ಒಂದು ಗ್ರೂಪ್ ಫೋಟೋ ತೆಗಿತಾರೆ ಒಂದು ನಿಮಿಷ ಸರ್ ಐ ವಿಲ್ ಟೇಕ್ ಜಸ್ಟ್ ಫ್ಯೂ
Okay.
ಸೆಕೆಂಡ್ಸ್
Yes, sir.
Yeah. On behalf of all of us, I'm indebted to Dr. Gururaj Karjagi and his family. And it's beautiful. Tears were in my eyes, the way you explained. And it's just outstanding, sir. Just outstanding. My
Thank you, sir.
pranams to you.
Thank
And
you,
I
sir.
would like to thank Dr. Shivram and entire Rotary Club of Sirsi. They have spent days together to organize this. And Vinay Kumar Hiremat, fantastic gentleman. Just the helping. Any problems? This is our first Zoom meeting hosted by us as well as, along with the Vinay Kumar. And thank you very much. Outstanding. And Harish from MM Joshi, thank you so much for doing wonderful job, sir. Unblemished. Even international meets will not happen blemishlessly like this. There are so many breaks, so many noises, so many videos you have taken care of meticulously at the end of the day, after a tiring day. Thanks to you. Thanks to you. Thanks.
Sir, I have forgotten Aim Shah for his melodious song. Where is he?
Yes, yes.
Is he there?
Wonderful, wonderful. Very.
I'm
He sang
sure.
so well. He sang
Yeah.
so well.
For a melodious song, I thank you
Yes.
him also.
He
Yes,
happens to be Karthik and Chandana's son. And
Oh.
he is
Oh.
already holding a world record for reciting
Oh.
Shiva Stotram.
Oh,
Okay.
Youngest child, 4-year-old child. And
Wonderful.
he recites continuously without reading it and
Oh.
from his memory. I don't know how he got the memory.
Yes.
That's marvelous. He has already got that, the youngest person who can recite this.
Wonderful, wonderful. Wonderful, sir. May God bless him, sir, with all success. Thank
That's
you.
what.
Sir.
Your blessings will take him a long way.
He's a wonderful boy. I could see the spark in his eyes when he was singing so beautifully.
Right.
So beautiful. Thank you, sir. Thank you so much once again to every one of you.
Thank
Thank
you.
you, sir. Thank you, sir.
Keep coming back,
ದೀಪ್ತಿ
sir.
ಫೋಟೋ ಆಯ್ತು ಫೋಟೋ
One more when all of us.
ಸರ್ ಇಸ್ ಹಿಯರ್ ಜಸ್ಟ್
Yeah, yeah. Sure, sir. Done. Thank
ಓಕೆ ಥ್ಯಾಂಕ್ ಯು ಸರ್
Thanks to every one of you.
ಥ್ಯಾಂಕ್ ಯು ಸರ್ we should leave Dr. Gururaj Karjagi sir first because he has to attend another program in the next 20 minutes.
Then we can have open session, sir.
Yes, yes. Please mute the YouTube and Facebook live. Please close it.
Okay, sir. Okay.